What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap Show. NCAA March Madness has been nothing but crazy. Really some bad games for me. I said IU would really go all the way. I thought they would hit the Final Four, but IU choked. They blew it. And same thing with Purdue. I mean, Purdue is the second team in NCAA basketball history to lose to a 16th seed as a number one. This is insane to me, dude. I'm at a loss for words with Purdue. I mean, I'm more upset about Purdue than IU because Purdue really, they should have won this game. You know, give it to their big guy. They did it in the last 10 minutes of the game. I mean, hats off to FDU for getting the upset win, but it was just bad for Purdue. I mean, really, I'm looking at Coach Painter and thinking, I mean, last year they lost to a 15th seed. The year before they lost, I believe, to a 14th seed. It's just like, you know, what else do we expect from Purdue? I mean, they were number one team in the country back in December, and I even admitted that, hey, it doesn't really matter. As long as you get in the NCAA tournament, that's what matters. But right now, Purdue, they were number one seed. Now they're out, dude. You know, I shout out to FDU, even though they did lose last night to Florida Atlantic, the number 9 seed. They're by far the team. Florida Atlantic and Princeton are the most surprising team left for me. I mean, Princeton's a 15th seed, and they're in the Sweet 16. That's amazing. Shout out to Florida Atlantic. I mean, that's what March Madness is about. We see these small schools, even though I heard of Princeton before, they upset Duke about 5 or 6 years ago. So I kind of had a feeling that would work out. But Florida Atlantic, I mean, nobody really knew about Florida Atlantic. I only think the people that bet on Florida Atlantic were Florida Atlantic fans. That's it. Because a lot of people did not pick them to go to the Sweet 16, and right now Florida Atlantic's in the Sweet 16. They do play Tennessee, which is probably a mismatch, but, I mean, we're looking at these underdog teams and be like, dude, how do they run this deep? And Florida Atlantic hit some big shots in the second half. That was huge for me, dude. It was just wow. But, you know, the most heartbreaking loss was definitely IU. The Hoosiers did not come to play. Their defense was terrible. And some of them just they were playing scared in the first half. It was just like Miami wanted it more. They were hustling to the ball more than IU, getting offensive rebounds more than IU. And it just looked like they were more hungry. It really was. You know, and shout out to Pack, one of the point guards on Miami. He's from Indianapolis, which is crazy, right? An Indiana boy going down to Miami. It's insane. I wish we would have got him because we needed another guard out there, and our guards just weren't quick enough. You know, same thing with Purdue Boilermakers. I mean, they just got exposed, dude, the whole time. It's just like, you know, point guard play is really critical in the NCAA tournament, and IU and Purdue just didn't have it. Didn't have the answers for that, you know, and Tracy Jackson Davis, I do think he'll go in the NBA. I think he's a first-round draft pick. I think he's a top 10 talent. Even though a lot of people don't think he can pan out in the NBA, I do. I think he's got to develop a better jump shot, though. If he wants to pan out in the NBA, a little bit different, I do think he needs to develop that. He needs to develop a better shot, but, you know, IU, it sucks. You know, I do think they had a team. They really did. They had some good players, but they just came up short, man. They really did. And I'm just looking at, you know, Coach Mike Woodson. It is disappointing. You know, he did coach with Bob Knight back in the day. He was actually a player for Bob Knight. So he's experienced. He won with Bob Knight. He's a champion. He's from Indianapolis, from Broad Ripple. Shout out to Mike Woodson, but IU came up short. You know, it's either win a championship or bust for Indiana, you know, basketball. That plain and simple. I mean, with Bob Knight, he won 3 national championships here, like 3. And we haven't won since Bob Knight. So my thing is like, IU, we got to keep getting better and better in the tournament. You know, winning just 1 game in the tournament or winning 2 games, make it to the Sweet 16, that's just not enough. It really isn't. So, you know, IU, it's disappointing for me. It really is. But my team that I picked to win it all, Gonzaga, is still in it. I mean, they really were losing this game last night. They ended up coming back and winning the game. Shout out to Gonzaga. They're playing UCLA. I mean, this game is going to be great. I think it's going to be one of the best games all weekend in the Sweet 16. But looking at Gonzaga, why did I pick them? Because I feel like they have the most complete team. Starting with Timmy, their power forward, they're really their star player. I think they got to utilize through him. I just think they're the most complete team. They got all different types of good chemistry. They flow around the ball. They play good defense. So I think Gonzaga, a well-coached team as well. That's why I picked them to win it. What's even more crazy is there's only one Big Ten team left, and that's Michigan State. look, shout out to Tom Izzo. I mean, Michigan State, the only Big Ten team left, which is crazy, right? And I consider the Big Ten basketball one of the toughest conferences. Yet, only one Big Ten is left, dude. Purdue's gone, IU's gone, Northwestern's gone, Penn State's gone. It's crazy, man. How? How does Big Ten, have great competition throughout the regular season in their conference, then come big boy time, it's like we don't show up. Our conference does not show up. Purdue won the Big Ten championship, and they were the first ones to lose, dude. It's crazy. It really is. But shout out to Michigan State. They're playing Kansas State. I think that's going to be an epic battle as well. But can Michigan State win it all with Tom Izzo? I don't think so. I think it's a long shot. I just don't think they have the inside talent. Yes, they have good guards. They have good guard play. But big guys, I just don't think Michigan State really has that. I don't think they have the answer to be like, hey, this is what they're going to do. We're going to do different lineups. We're going to hit you in the corner with the three, stuff like that. But I just think for Michigan State, man, they got to hit their open shots if they want to run deep. I just don't see them winning it. They can't beat Kansas State. It's going to be interesting to see. But, shout out to San Diego State. They're in the Sweet 16. They're playing up against Bama, which a lot of people picked Alabama to win, which it does make sense. They have good guard play. They're really athletic. They can get up and down the floor easy, play great defense. But I just think that what separates the championship teams from the non-championship teams is the coaching and what do they do in big game situations. When the game's tied up with under 2 minutes, what type of shot are you going to take? Are you going to take a terrible three-point shot just like Purdue did when they're down by 3 with like 10 seconds to go in that game against FDU and throw up a terrible 3? I think it's more, you got to be smart in situations. Go for the 2-for-1. Make it a game still. I just think, the fundamentals, they have to stick to that. And I think some of these teams that are still in it, sometimes they don't stick to those fundamentals where it's like, hey, let's do the better play. Let's not be the hero here and check up just a lucky 3 here and hopefully we hit it. It's just like, let's design a good play here. Let's go to the 2-for-1. You don't have to take the 3 all the time to tie the game. I think that's what they've done all NCAA tournament this year. But FDU, obviously the most surprising team. I wish they would have won. They would have been the first 16th seed in the Sweet 16 if they would have beat Florida Atlantic last night. I mean, that would have been crazy, right? The first time ever a 16th seed made it to the Sweet 16. They were close, but they fell up short. They did. What a run by FDU. Nothing to hang their hats on. I mean, they were supposed to lose by Purdue by like 22, I believe. Like, that is crazy, dude. Like, that is insane. But obviously, I'm rooting for the underdogs left in the Sweet 16. Princeton and Florida Atlantic, I'd love to see them run it deep. But right now, I think the most complete team is definitely Gonzaga, and I would say Tennessee as well. And then, shout out to Miami. I mean, they beat my Indiana squad, and they're playing up against Houston. And I'm telling you what, right now, Miami, they had the recipe to beat Houston. I would say any of the underdogs left against these matchups, I would definitely take Miami over Houston because Houston's star player right now has a groin injury. I don't think he's 100%, so that's going to be tough as well. But Miami, what we do know is they have athletic guards. They can guard up and down the court, and they can shoot the ball. They can shoot the 3. They really can. So I think Miami, they are a team well coached as well, where it's like Miami's kind of free rolling right now. They weren't supposed to be an IU. They were underdogs by like 2.5 points. They weren't supposed to win. So right now, I think Miami, the U, they're just kind of in this tournament right now in the Sweet 16, and they're like, dude, we're not supposed to be here, but we're going to have fun. The pressure's not on us. The pressure's on Houston. In the first 2 games of Houston kind of been iffy as well, where it's like it's been too close of a game. I think Miami runs away with it. I like Miami against Houston in that matchup. I really do. And then we got Xavier in Texas. That's a coin flip game. That is definitely a coin flip game. I would say go Xavier here by a game-winning shot, something like that. I can't wait for that. But Arkansas versus UConn. Arkansas with a huge upset, man. What a time. I love March Madness. A lot of people had Kansas running it all the way. But UConn is another team where when they're hitting their shots and playing good defense, they can beat anybody. They really can. So UConn, I would take UConn in the slight favorite over Arkansas. That's going to be a crazy game. And then we got Princeton and Creighton. Creighton can hit threes, what we saw, but I would love to see Princeton win. Is 15 seed in the Elite 8. That would be insane, dude. Like, I honestly don't even think that's ever happened, dude. If 15 seed in the Elite 8, that would be crazy. I mean, against all odds. And I think Princeton, a lot, this whole year, this whole bracket, I think, has kind of been a little bit fugazi with the rankings. Like, we got Purdue number 1, which I thought Purdue should have been a 2 or 3 seed. But I think Purdue was a number 1 because they won the Big Ten, which kind of made sense. But, it's funny how it went. I didn't even fill out a bracket this year, first time ever, because honestly, I knew there was some fugazi going on in Purdue. They blew it basically for everybody. Even though a sports bettor put $33,000 on FDU to beat Purdue, and he won $500,000. I mean, that right there, it's just crazy. I mean, who would have thought that? And the average height for FDU was like 6'1", 6'2". I mean, Purdue, dude, it's crazy, man. Like, it's insane, but that's March Madness for you. That's why everybody loves March Madness, because we get to see the underdog team actually win. And I feel like being the underdog in March Madness is a little bit of advantage because you don't have the pressure on you. You're not supposed to win. You're supposed to get blown out. All the pressure's on the favorite, on the number one seed. So I think a lot of it's on there. Now, will the number one seed make the Final Four? I would say out of the two, Bama and Houston are the only ones left. I would say, honestly, Bama's probably the team that's going to survive. I do think Houston's on upset alert against Miami. I really do. Miami, they have that team. They have the tenacity. They play great defense. They play great help side, and that's what you need. And that's why IU lost the game against Miami last night. They didn't play defense. They didn't box out. They didn't do the fundamentals like a championship team would. I really, truly believe that. So, I can't wait. The Sweet 16 is here. I love it. Obviously, I'm still going to go Gonzaga with the championship because I feel like they're the most complete team, but I cannot wait. In the Michigan State, I hope they run deep, the only Big Ten team left, but it's March Madness, upset alert, baby. It's the Clown with Cap show. Let's go!